All right, today we're going to be reviewing the Titan Impact 120. This is Titan's new cordless backpack spraying outfit. It's designed for small size projects like kitchens or small room repainting. The hopper on this unit holds up to 1.25 gallons of material. It uses the Bosch battery system. The Bosch takes about 50 minutes to recharge. It's designed to use with the HEA or the Synergy Fine Finish tips. So you don't use a traditional airless tip on this. That's because the rig's only rated to 1,500 pounds pressure. But with the HEA or fine finish tip, you're going to be able to atomize and spray standard latex finishes as well as your common wood finishes, whether it's gallery or breakthrough. Today we'll be showing it with Renner, which is a kind of up and coming water-based Italian finish. The inside of the hopper itself, we'll show you that over in here. So one thing to know about this, there's an inlet valve and an outlet valve. These are a replaceable part. The pump itself, if that were to ever have an issue, you replace the core of the unit as a whole. This is a warranty for 4 years on the pump itself. The battery has a 3-year warranty. And then your outlet valve is here. This is an item in and of itself that can be replaced. So much like an outlet valve on the traditional airless, if this would go, you can replace that separately. The inside of the rig here, the way this works, you have your prime valve here that'll allow you to prime the material into a separate container to kind of get it started. The material through the pump, then you can push it through the hose. Given that it's not a large hose, you may not use the prime. It's kind of a preference, or if you want to, you could. The inlet valve here, there's an inlet valve with a screen. One thing to know, when you're kind of filling this, you can push on this to ensure your inlet valve is working properly. You can see how it kind of plunges in and out. If you don't feel that inlet valve moving, you could easily see if that was frozen stuck or had too much paint on it. So it comes ready to go, and we'll be showing it with the Renner here in a moment. Comes with a 5/16 hose standard. And then on the side of the rig here, you can see you have an on and off, and you have your pressure gauge here to determine what pressure you want to spray at. You also have your prime valve on the side. So in the vertical, it'll push through the prime tube, and then in horizontal, you'll go into spray mode. It can be worn on your back, or it easily stands on its own on the floor. Nice advantage to that. If you're working with a full gallon of paint, it lets you have more volume than some of the other handhelds in the market. It also lets you be equally portable because it'll go on your back. So think of it as a step above as far as project size that you might take on with this, because you're not limited to a 1 quart that hangs underneath the gun. You got a little more flexibility in what you can deal with. It comes with 9 foot of 3/16 hose. So nice, flexible, smaller hose. It can use up to a 25 foot set of hose. So this could even be a good use case for, say you have a mainline paint crew and you're coming up behind them to do kind of smaller touch-up or back finish work. This could be run by one of the operators, not take up your main pump, and make it pretty easy to kind of go. It does have a hose adjustment here that you can wrap or unwind more or less hose. So if you're doing ladder work or you don't want the big hose bulk around just for 9 foot, or you're carrying 25, you can wind that up to be less or more depending on what you want to do there, and then that gives you a little more less to deal with or fight with when you're climbing and that kind of thing. So you can kind of wrap that up to be as little and tight as you need, or as open and free flowing as you want as well. The battery on it comes underneath, plugs in right here, pretty easy to take in and out. You can slide it in from here. You get up to about 4 gallons per battery. You get 2 batteries with the rig, so that gives you about 8 gallons of total use time, and it's 50 minutes in between charging. The 5/17 tip, which is your max tip that it'll support, that will use about 0.3 to 0.4 gallons a minute. So you could conceivably keep running these back to back pretty continuously without too much trouble. So that's kind of an overview of this new backpack rig. We'll go ahead and show the rig spraying some Malaysia here with the fine finish tip. So the rig without paint weighs about 11 pounds roughly with the hose and everything in place. And then we'll weigh it after paint as well. It'll be about 13 pounds with a gallon and a quarter of paint. So you can fill the hopper pretty easily. I would just use the recirc, make it a habit to clean the hopper each time. You can fill it with water when you're done. We'll kind of show you what that looks like. Rather than trying to pull this pickup tube out, I would leave it and work with it with a clean hopper. Otherwise, you can take this off, but it's a little tricky to get back in. So I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, and we'll go ahead and fire it up. So here's your pickup tube. It's priming the pump. Now we'll go ahead and prime out through the hose. The lid has kind of this secure latch, so you can make sure it's not gonna fall off while you're using it on your back and get you paint on you. So you could use it both on the back or on the ground. So you have your backpack, it hooks down at the bottom on both, and then you can go ahead and put it on after it's all ready. Tighten to your preference there. This is also a new swivel Titan's come out with. It doesn't come with the rig, but a nice option. It's up to 7,500 PSI, so you could even use this for like your silicone rigs, and it gives you that ease of flexibility at the wrist. A lot of operators, paint guys I talk to often complain about how hard it is to bend the hose up into cabinets and that kind of thing. So you can always use a standard whip line for that, but this gives you even more flexibility than that would. So now I've got the unit primed. We'll get some paint through the hose here. Again, this is Renner, so what we're spraying. I'm getting the water through the line here. Okay, now we're on the paint. So this is a 312 tip. You can see not a ton of overspray because of the low pressure tip, but a beautiful finish. Has no problem shooting this waterborne cabinet finish. Nice thing is I have flexibility on my hose, so if I want to let more out, it's pretty easy to let that out more or less. So I need a little more flexibility on the hose. Another thing you might hear, the backpack beeps every so often. There's two reasons it'll beep. It'll beep when the battery is low or when the material's starting to get low and the pump isn't able to get material. The importance of that is if you're getting low on battery, you should stop spraying, and it gives you that reminder so you don't end up getting an issue where the gun doesn't perform at the pressure it needs to. So as the battery wears down, the pressure will drop, and if you catch that at the wrong moment, you can get some spits or sputters on your finish work. So the battery reminder helps you to not have that issue. So one thing you might notice, if you ever hear the pump kind of running continuously and stop feeding material, what would happen there is sometimes the pump will lose its prime. So if you are spraying a lot of up and down, top to bottom, and you need to get down low, an extension on the gun would be recommended. As you bend over and back and forth a lot, especially as the material gets lower, you could start sucking for material and the pump will start cavitating or making noise continuously. To fix that, you can flip it back to prime on the pump, and then once that issue resolves, you can go back to spraying. The other thing you'll see that's nice, you can get to your controls pretty easily here. So if I want to increase my pressure or decrease my pressure, I can do that here. And as I get familiar with the equipment and which way's up and down, you can adjust your pressure on the fly. Now that we're kind of done, we'll go ahead and show you the cleanup process. So cleanup's pretty simple. You have a nice hopper that's easy to pour from. Whatever paint's left doesn't have to go to waste. You'll hear the beeping as I pour the material. That's the warning that it's low on paint. The other thing to know, if the battery does get too low, it'll just stop you from spraying. So it both has an audible alarm, letting you know you're getting close, and then a cutoff. So you won't get an issue where it sprays weakly and and creates a finish problem at the end of it. Once you've poured out the finish you want, you can do one of two things. You could leave your hose connected, you can disconnect it. You can also disconnect the straps for the backpack, which I'm gonna go ahead and do so I don't get paint all in my straps when I'm in there cleaning it in the slop sink. Okay, so you also notice there's a extra tip holder up here. So if you wanted to keep 2 tips, 1 extra up here, you could keep your fine finish or just your wider pattern tip up there. The pressure adjustment here away from you when it's on your back goes higher in pressure. So again, easy enough to reach back and adjust higher or lower in your pressure. The prime valve, you can't reach as easily from your back. You would probably take it off to get to that. There's a decent amount of gap between there. And then if you want to shoot oil-based paints, you have a grounding lug here. They give you a cord that'll have to plug in, both tie onto here and then plug into a standard wall outlet that's grounded. And that would let you shoot oil or solvent-based paints to prevent any static buildup and any chance of spark. So now we'll go ahead and show you cleaning up the outfit. Okay, so it fits pretty easily into a slop sink, so that makes cleanup relatively straightforward. I've emptied all the original paint back into the container. I'll fill it and clean it. This product we're cleaning is pretty messy, so it'll take a little bit. It's a thicker product. I do recommend removing the straps before you bring it in here so you don't get paint all over those while you're cleaning up. All right, so I got the hopper clean. I'll go ahead and put the pump on. We'll use the prime tube to clean out the pump itself. So you want to get all your paint through till it's just water. Once that's mostly clear, you go ahead and run the paint through the line and you're good to go. All right, so we ran the water through the pump, we ran it through the prime valve. We'll go ahead and flip it over to the spray setting and clean out my gun from there. And in a couple moments here, that'll be pretty clear, and that'll be it. So convenient, about 10 minutes to clean up, a little more holding time for material. Great rig for small to mid-sized projects, great for wood finishes, general interior latexes, up to a 17 thousandths tip. And about 100 gallons use before you need to service the pump, typically. If you're going to store it for a while, I would consider putting a little WD-40 or pump protectant solution in there. Just keep the prime valve functioning well. And that's that.